Chapter 21, Archangel Gabriel's bedtime story titled The Dolphins and Whales Save the Oceans, channeled by Daniel Scranton.
Here we are. We are the collective known as Archangel Gabriel, and we are happy to be here to bring you this bedtime story, which is appropriate for all ages. Once upon a time, in the Sirius star system, there was a water world, a world with no landmass, with nothing but oceans and aquatic beings. The dolphins and the whales that you have on Earth came from this water world. And this is the story of how that came to be and how they could continue to assist humanity. A long, long time ago, the queen of the dolphins, who went by the name of Ariana, was swimming around with her pod, enjoying the beautiful waters of the Sirius planet, known as Apaka. Now, the whales also shared these waters, and the king of the whales was also leading his group of whales through the waters of the oceans. And he went by the name of Theo. Theo and Ariana would meet on a regular basis and share ideas. And one day, in one of their many long meetings about how they could grow and expand spiritually, Ariana had a proposal for Theo. She said, "Let us go to this star system that is not so far away, that will someday be known as the solar system. And let us bring our consciousness to the planet that I can see is about to have sentient humanoid life forms. We will support them in their evolution, and we will see them through to their ascension." And in response to this, Theo was silent for a while. And then finally he spoke. "I don't know about this plan of yours, Ariana," he said. "I think we can grow spiritually just fine where we are." And Ariana said, "But we will grow and expand so much more quickly if we have to learn how to coexist with beings that are very different from us and who won't even know about our status as highly evolved beings. Theo once again pondered this. He gave it a good long think. And he looked at the whales swimming around in the water behind him, so carefree, so happy, playing, loving, living in joy. And he thought, this is something that beings who are going to be struggling on the land will enjoy. This is something that they will indeed benefit from, so it won't just be for the good of our consciousness that we go there. It will be for the good of all. And so Ariana led Theo to the portals that she had created, portals that would lead directly to the oceans of Earth. And they led their respective tribes through the portals, entering in the ocean known as the Atlantic. And it felt very different from the oceans of their world in the Sirius star system. And as they swam, they got to know the other aquatic beings. And the other beings of the ocean respected the whales and dolphins. They could feel the high vibration coming off of them. And they also knew of the coming of humankind to Earth and how they would all be affected. And so the dolphins and the whales swam through all the many oceans and seas on Earth, spreading their love and light and anchoring in the energies of Sirius with their sounds and with their love. And as the humans evolved, they eventually became industrialized. And while the fishing and even hunting of whales had been a minor problem, the industrialization of Earth became a much bigger problem for the dolphins and whales, as well as all the other fish in the ocean. As humans manufactured more and more products, they dumped waste in the oceans. And as they created more and more garbage, the oceans became polluted with human garbage as well. Ariana approached Theo one day for one of their meetings and said, "I don't know about this Earth experiment. I don't think it's going very well. They seem to live out of harmony with nature, and they don't care about all of this garbage and pollution that's affecting all of the aquatic life here." They don't seem to care at all about us, about the earth, or even about themselves. And look at the population of fish and how it has shrunk substantially. They are overfishing and polluting these beautiful oceans. It's getting harder and harder for us. We get caught in their fishing nets. We are captured and have to perform for them in amusement parks. This is not going well. This is not going well at all. And Theo thought long and hard before responding. And then he said to Ariana, "It has to be this way, you know. We don't get to grow spiritually from just playing and loving and swimming around. We have to have these challenges. We have to face these parts of ourselves that the humans represent, as they are from source, just as we are. And so, I believe that we should give them some time to wake up. And I believe that we should double our efforts with the tones and sounds that we create to support the consciousness of humanity, to bring them further along than they have ever been before. And Ariana shook her head and said, "It was I who convinced you to come. And now you are convincing me to stay. As always, you are wise in your words. And I know that the experience of staying and seeing this through is what we all need." And so the dolphins and the whales began doubling their efforts in creating the sounds necessary to support the evolution of the human consciousness. They made themselves visible They even began to sacrifice themselves at times, dying on purpose and washing up on the shores to show humans that the water had become unlivable for many of them, with mercury levels rising and the huge, massive amounts of plastic formations. These were particularly disturbing to the humans, dolphins, and whales. And of course, even the efforts to recycle for humanity were not enough. People were awakening to the truth that they needed to buy less stuff and live more in harmony with nature. But it was a small percentage of humans that were making that determination. The dolphins and the whales could pick up on this tiny shift forward in the consciousness of humans, however, and they were encouraged by it. Especially the young people being born on Earth were seeing that they could play a role in eliminating these huge plastic formations in the ocean. And they began coming up with ideas. And the dolphins and the whales would communicate with them telepathically. So that the young, idealistic humans could develop the machinery necessary to pull these gigantic plastic formations out of the ocean. And the dolphins and whales were satisfied that humanity had been making such tremendous strides forward in dealing with their pollution, in their wastefulness, and in the rampant consumerism that led to the situation in the oceans of the world. Seeing this progress warmed the hearts of Ariana and Theo, both of whom had reincarnated many times since first coming to Earth, but still knew themselves as the queen and king of the dolphins and whales. They got together once again for a meeting. Ariana said to Theo, I feel that there's more that we can do to help the humans in getting rid of these gigantic masses of floating plastic formations. Theo, of course, was very slow and thoughtful in responding. Eventually he said, "What did you have in mind?" And Ariana got very excited because she knew that Theo would just love her idea. And she said, when we see the humans using their machinery to remove the plastic, we can help them by swimming in formation far underneath the plastic formation they're working on. And if we spiral up, we can help to push it higher to the surface and perhaps even get it to break apart, making it easier for the humans to haul off various parts of these big formations of garbage. And Theo thought long and hard about this plan. And he said, well, I am no physicist, but there is a chance that what you're saying could actually work. And while we whales cannot swim as fast as you dolphins, we can swim upwards from the bottom of the ocean and contribute to the force that you are creating. Ariana did some flips in the air because she was so happy to see that they could work together, the dolphins, the whales, and the humans, to bring about the change that they wanted to see in the world. Meanwhile, the humans working on this project of removing the plastic from the ocean were losing faith in their technology. They were losing faith in their ability to get to all of it, or to move these gigantic masses that had formed, that were so sprawling and heavy that their machines were only making a tiny dent in how much plastic there was to remove. And still, most of humanity didn't know about the problem, and those that didn't care enough because they couldn't see how it affected them personally. And so the funding for these projects was running low, and the morale was also at a low point for those who had created the machines and who were operating them. The dolphins and whales could feel this in the consciousness of humanity and knew that it was time to start coming through to start being channeled by certain humans who didn't even believe in channeling. First, they started speaking through senators and Congress people while they were showering. And these men and women did not understand what was happening. All they knew was that they were getting encouraged to vote for more funding for this ocean cleanup project. And then the engineers, the scientists were getting downloads from the dolphins and the whales. And some even channeled sounds that sounded like dolphins and whales coming through them, and did not understand why or how. All they knew was that they were getting new ideas to make the machines more energy efficient, more powerful, and to be able to last longer on their missions. And even the operators of the machines, who had no knowledge of the advanced consciousness of the dolphins and whales, would be receiving dreams of swimming with them in the clean, pristine oceans, and suddenly their morale was boosted. They knew that this project was not only possible, they knew that it would work, and they wanted to be a part of it. And so, little by little, the project to remove the plastic from the ocean had better funding, better science and technology behind it. And those operating the machines were inspired and the dolphins and whales had plenty of time while all this was happening to coordinate their efforts. They had done several practice runs, and they had been able to get the plastic masses to break apart into some smaller pieces, to bring more of it to the surface where it would be easier for the machines to remove it. And on one particular day, with all of the newly renovated machines, with all of the cutting-edge technology converging on the plastic masses, the dolphins and the whales knew the timing was perfect. And the dolphins swam in an upward spiraling motion, and the whales swam straight up from the bottom of the ocean. And the plastic masses were breaking apart, floating up to the surface. And the inspired humans running the machines were laughing as they could see the dolphins and whales coming to the surface, jumping through the air. And the whales giving blasts of water through their blowholes. The humans were moved by this display, and a few of them pulled out their phones and made videos that they then uploaded to the internet. And of course the videos quickly went viral, and more humans than ever cared about keeping the oceans clean for these beautiful beings who, in spite of being mistreated for years and years by humans, were still there to help at a time when humanity needed their assistance, needed their love and their inspiration. And before long, there was more and more funding, more and more ballot measures that helped humanity have what they needed to move forward with this pollution removal project. And countries that had never worked together on anything before were gathering together in conferences with their best scientists, seeking ways to better their efforts. Some had the raw materials to build the machines, others had the scientists with the best approaches to removal of the plastic. And so they combined their efforts, and the dolphins and the whales continued to help whenever they could. And humanity made much more than a dent in the pollution problem in the ocean. They almost entirely wiped out all pollution that could be scooped up by a machine and taken to a plant where it could be reused and recycled. And humans all around the world, even heads of corporations, began to think more about conservation, about reduction, recycling, and never putting anything in the ocean that could possibly harm the beautiful beings that had volunteered to come from another star system to help humanity realize that whatever they did to another being, whether human, animal, plant, aquatic, they were doing to themselves. And moving forward, more and more humans were awake to the truth of the unity that exists between all life forms and the necessity to respect all beings. This all because of mistakes that were made, oversights, lack of awareness, leading to such a horrible state of affairs that it was necessary for people from all parts of the world to work together, to work with the dolphins and the whales to save the oceans of planet Earth. And now, where you are as a human race, you are much more likely to think about the impact that your choices have. And this is a very good thing. And we are all very proud of the progress that you are making in this regard. And we hope that this fairy tale, most of which is true, can become a reality. You just have to write that final chapter. We are Gabriel. We are centers of love.